Hello everybody, this is Negro News here to save you from historical amnesia. I'm Chin, and it is Black History Month. Actually, it's almost the end of Black History Month, so tell me something you've learned. Come on, give me something. Oh, I forgot, y'all actually come here to learn something. So let's actually start here. Black history did not start with slavery. Black history is the story of resilience, ambition, and ingenuity. How far we have come and how far we must go. This is Black history. So, in today's lesson, we're going to talk about the history of Black History Month. Where did it come from? Where was its inception? Who thought of the idea of having a whole month dedicated to Black history? I got y'all. The story of Black History Month begins in 1915, half a century after the 13th Amendment was passed, abolishing slavery within the United States. That September, the Harvard-trained historian Carter G. Woodson and the prominent minister Jesse E. Moreland founded the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, an organization dedicated to researching and promoting achievements by Black Americans and other people of African descent. According to the way many historians taught the nation's past, African Americans had nothing to do with it, a narrative that Carter G. Woodson knew wasn't true. In 1926, Woodson and the A.S.A.L.H launched Negro History Week. Yes, Black History Month actually started off as a week. It was created to bring attention to his mission and to help school systems coordinate on the topic of Black history. Woodson chose the second week of February as it both encompassed Frederick Douglass' birthday, which is on February 14th, and Abraham Lincoln's birthday, which is on February 12th. And the week took off and inspired local communities and schools to start hosting history clubs, start having performances, lectures, and different discussions revolving around Black history. Basically a bunch of Black camaraderie. President Gerald Ford officially recognized Black History Month in 1976. President Gerald Ford called upon the public to seize the opportunity to honor the too often neglected accomplishments of Black Americans in every area of endeavor throughout our history. Since 1976, every president has honored February as Black History Month. And since every president has endorsed a specific theme to every year's Black History Month. I had no clue that every Black History Month had a theme. Who would have knew? Did you know? This year marks the 100th year anniversary of the end of World War I. And this Black History Month is supposed to honor all of the lives and sacrifices taken by African Americans in wars, from the Revolutionary War to the Civil War to World War I, II, Vietnam War, all of them. That's this year's theme. That theme thing is crazy to me. Like, I had no clue, and I went and looked it up, and since its inception, Black History Month for every year has had some sort of theme. Now back to Carter G. Woodson. See, he believed that appreciating someone's history was a prerequisite to equality. See, Mr. Carter G. Woodson wrote that if a race has no history, then it has no worthwhile tradition, and then becomes a negligible factor in the thought of the world. What he meant was that no nation can grant you equality through legislation if they don't respect you or your people's history. So I come back to you with this question again. It's Black History Month. What have you learned? What type of things have you done to celebrate Black history? Or is Black History Month something that's just watered down now, left to be forgotten? And I'm not talking about the same old Martin Luther King, I have a dream speech shit. Martin Luther King did the I have a dream speech in 1963. He was assassinated in 1968. That's all you get when it comes to Martin Luther King. You get his I have a dream speech, and you get he was killed. They don't even tell you he's assassinated, they give you that he's killed. But what happened in between those 5 years of him? What type of policy did he talk about? What was he protesting? Well, what happened in between those 5 years? There's a 5-year span in there where Martin Luther King is going around preaching about a lot of other things that we just don't learn. You learn nothing about Martin Luther King's anti-war speeches, or even how he did a whole 180 on his whole I have a dream speech, saying that I'm afraid my dream has turned into a nightmare. This is all true. These are just the things that you're not taught. But that's why the history must be in our hands. We must be able to write our own stories. This is why Black history is so important. I mean, think about it this way. Everything that you have learned to this point has been taught to you from a Eurocentric school system. So think about it. What really do you know? What really have you learned? Let's not forget about in 2015 when textbook publisher McGraw-Hill tried to describe the transatlantic slave trade as economic immigration. Rewriting of history. We must remember that Black History Month exists to give us what federal policy cannot. The complete eradication of systemic racism. Yes, policy is important, but today in the state of Black America, it's almost insignificant. We have Brown versus Board, and yet systemic racism of public schools still exists. We have the Fair Housing Act, and racial segregation within housing has barely changed within the last 4 decades. We have the 15th Amendment, and yet state laws still implement measures that disproportionately affect Black voters. Black unemployment remains twice at the rate of white Americans. The Black median wealth is nearly 10 times less than white wealth. Black Americans are incarcerated at a rate of 5 times that of their white countrymen, and Black health continues to be worse on every front. With all that being said, shit, everybody still want to be Black. Hip hop is the #1 genre in America, beating country. Come on, does that not tell of the times? And the point of Black History Month is to remind y'all that we helped build this shit. So, if you haven't learned anything during Black History Month, you now have learned the history of Black History Month. Alright, and that's all I got for you guys today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This is Needed Negro News, here to save you from historical amnesia. I know I was a little formal with it today, but it's all good. It was Black History Month. I had to go presidential for it. Wakanda Forever, homie.
Big shot.